Hey, it's me, MLB. Here is part 12, the final part of A Surge of Desires. Enjoy. You looked back over your shoulder, back out the door, and used one arm to wave the cousins in, while you rested your other on Denki's back, between his shoulder blades. His body felt hot through his shirt, and you could feel how heavy his breathing was. You could also feel his fingers sinking into your right calf and right hamstring. One of the cousins was on the phone, and the other three were standing by, but not doing much. "Can you please check on the other guy through there?" you whispered to the eldest when he came close enough to hear you. The guy nodded and went to check on your ex, giving him as much aid as possible. "I'm here," Tangi whispered to you from the front door to let you know that if you needed help, he was there. Denki was still gripping around your leg and had broken down at that point, crying and babbling incoherently, the sobs racking his body as his breakdown took hold. It was the longest wait for the police ever, but in actual fact they had arrived within 5 minutes of the call and turned up quietly with no sirens, just lights, as your friend's cousin on the phone had asked them. Your ex was badly wounded, but thankfully he was going to be okay, and was stretchered out once the ambulance arrived. Denki was cuffed and taken to the padded van, and you promised him that you'd be with him, but he seemed too far gone at that point. He had lost it completely, eyes glazed, hair a mess, and his voice strained from all the yelling and crying. You were taken down to the police station for your statement, and at some unearthly hour in the morning you were let go. The cousins came and picked you up, in that Civic that you'd come to love, and took you back to your friend's house. It was a hard few days post-ordeal. You visited your ex-boyfriend in hospital and told him the full story. He was grateful that you'd come, and told you what had happened when Denki arrived at the house, thanking you again for saving his life. There was a warmth shared between you both, and it was nice to end on a good note this time. You were glad to see that he was recovering well. You kept in contact with Denki during his trial, providing key evidence that would land him in a psych rehabilitation unit this time instead of prison. The fact that he hadn't successfully committed the crime that he had intended to commit helped greatly with his case, and also the fact that you could point out that he needed medicated help and therapy was very beneficial, as in his first trial this had been overlooked entirely. 6 months down the track proved Denki to be a very different person to the guy that you had chanced to meet at the restaurant that night, and you hoped he would continue to improve. "Hey Denki," you greeted him as you entered the common lounge at the centre. "Hey Ian, how you going?" he asked, his bright smile lighting up his face as he stood up to give you a hug. It was a nice hug, nothing that lingered too long, didn't have any insatiable need behind it, just a nice greeting hug. As you pulled back you noted how calm he was. Unlike the Denki that you'd seen before, his golden eyes were clear and healthy. "How's study going?" "Yeah, good. Final year this year," you commented as you sat down with him at the table. "What you going to do when you finish?" he asked, sitting back down as well and leaning back on the chair. "Well, I've applied to work here actually," you said with a small smile. "For reals?" he asked excitedly. "That'd be hella cool." "Yeah," you said. "I like this place." "Yeah, it's alright here. I don't mind it," he said, stretching further back on the chair and interlacing his fingers up behind his head, that suave style making your heart beat a little faster. You nodded, looking away for a second to look around the room. "Oh, and they worked out what was going on," he said sheepishly, dropping his hands to his lap and looking down at them. You looked back at him and waited for him to continue. "Turns out that using my quirk a lot fries my brain. Like, I knew it did if I ever did it. I'd go a little loopy, but it also does it if I use it in small amounts. It just kind of chips away at my chemical level or whatever, and that's what caused the imbalance," he said. "Oh, yeah, okay. That makes sense. I'm glad they worked that out." "So, working as an electrician is a bad idea," he added with a chuckle. "Sends me off the deep end. If they let me out of here, I'll find a different job." "Yeah, sounds good," you said, nodding and looking away again, feeling a little awkward and flustered about spending time with him. Anyways, I just wanted to drop by and see you and make sure you're okay," you said, standing up to leave. "Oh, yeah, sure thing. Thanks. It was nice to see you again," he said, pushing his hands into his pockets and giving you a cute smile as he stood up along with you. You nodded. "I'll be back." "Hope so," he said with a wink. You felt the little butterflies do somersaults in your stomach, and you turned to go. Denki watched you go. It didn't hurt. It didn't cause hysteria to whirlwind inside him as he watched the back of you walk away. As you left out the front doors, he walked to the window to watch you leave, and let out a little huff of amusement before turning around and walking back to his room. From outside the building you stopped and looked back. He wasn't standing at the window and you smiled. "Good, he's getting better." Just then your alarm beeped on your phone, and you pulled it out to turn it off, and then you put it back in your pocket and pulled the small blister pack out of your other pocket. Can't forget to take these, you thought as you popped a pill into your palm and threw it into your open mouth, then grabbed your water bottle and took a sip. Because we all know what happens when we skip our meds. Right, Denki? Oh, there's a little twist on the end there. And there is the end of A Surge of Desires. It's very different from my usual style, but I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. Safe to say that Yandere villain Kaminari is the scariest of all the villain alternatives, in my humble opinion. Anyway, thank you for listening, and I will see you in the next book.